life is so busy in America, so when did my sister, Neva, have time to write? What is her secret? Must be her stress management techniques that she practices and teaches. The launch of the book in Washington, D.C. has already invited applaud from many readers around the world. A guidebook for a diaspora to adjust to the adopted country without losing one's cultural values. A lucid exposition of Nepali, particularly Newar culture, with interesting anecdotes. An immigrant is sure to find it useful. To me, it is emotionally touching, he says.
For many years, and he's so prim and proper, I can't imagine him using those road rage at all. Since he and Rajesh have been together since kindergarten. So, namaste and good afternoon. Our chief guest, Ambassador Peter Baudet, esteemed speakers, honorable guests, and friends, thank you for your time to be here and for all your support. It is a privilege and honor to present this work in Nepal. I appreciate all your patience, and I know some of you really wanted to get a copy of the book earlier, but because of the earthquake, we could not get there. However, I'm grateful that we are here today. I can see many distinguished writers in the audience here in front of me today. With this book, I have made a humble attempt to share my cross-cultural journey. A famous poet, Maya Angelou, once said, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." Frankly, I never really had a long-standing dream to write a book. Why? Because I thought it was an impossible task, and I admired any writer who produced one. It wasn't until some recent years that I felt a constant nudge inside me to pick up one of my passions, an engagement with cross-cultural nuances. And in college too, anytime I had an opportunity to talk about cross-culture, I would stand up and do that because it was a passion for me. I've always had a deep interest in all aspects of multiculture. After a few decades in a foreign country, living, studying, working, raising a family, I felt a sense of responsibility. A responsibility to share my story from an immigrant perspective. And just now, all our distinguished guests here, speakers, they talked about their experience with multiculturalism, and it was really inspiring to hear that. Many have asked me, Neva, how did you come up with the title to the book? This is how it happened. One day after dinner, I came up with a rough outline to the book, and after reviewing it, my husband Rajesh felt that this time I was serious about writing. I wasn't going to put it away. He turned to me and he said, "Why don't you call it The Best of Both Worlds?" And that is what it is. So friends and ladies in the audience, your husband knows best. When we discussed the title, Best of Both Worlds, I was trying to convey my perspective. How we attempted to assimilate best qualities of both worlds as we tried to grow as a family unit and in raising our children. I'm grateful that my oldest son, Neeraj Pradhan, has written the foreword to the book, and he wrote it even before I was done with the rough outline of my book. Now that I had the title of the book and the foreword written by my son, there was no turning back. And that's how we are here today. I start my book with the balancing act. Assimilating into a new culture raises few disconnects for us and for our children. One friend put it this way: we oscillate between two extremes. Either we hold our culture as preeminent and supreme and denigrate the other culture, or we defy our culture and uphold the other culture. In his recent speech in Kenya, President Obama said, "Every country and every culture has traditions that is unique and help make that country what it is. Just because something is part of your past does not make it right." it does not mean that it defines your future. This book is about my unique journey, an experience of surviving between two cultures of the East and West. I have shared the challenges, the roadblocks on this path, and how I was able to overcome them. I'm hopeful that this will lend some helpful guideline for the coming generations that aspire to study, work, and live abroad, and for parents dealing with children spanning multiple cultures. I also hope that I've helped build some cross-cultural and understanding that help to build bridges, because books change lives, and books change lives for the better. In this book, I'm only attempting to share my story. I've also discussed values that stand out in the East and West. I'd like to share a few of them that has impressed me over the years. Some key virtues in the East are respect for elders, sense of belonging, connectedness, all for one and one for all. As you know, if you have watched The Big Fat Greek Wedding, that's how the Nepalese families are too. Everyone gets into everyone's business, and if you don't, you get into trouble. So we love that. A deep sense of gratitude is number 3. In our family, it is inspiring to see all the grandchildren connect with their grandparents over the years, even though they were raised in the Western culture. They each have a special bonding. In recent years, they have learned Nepali only to communicate and write letters to their grandmother, which I have shared in few chapters of the book. And the values in the West are dignity of labor, opportunities in the West, and the sky's the limit philosophy. Philanthropy, even during this earthquake in Nepal, there were so many donations that came in from so many different countries. And Americans are always ready to donate during natural disasters to people they don't even know. In the book, I've discussed how Eastern men coming to the US quickly learn the importance of dignity of labor. They help in the house like their Western counterparts, and it makes a healthy and happy family. I've elaborated on this point with specific anecdotes. My husband's role and his consistent help with family matters, home and children, made it easier for me and my children to navigate through dual cultures. In the book, I've been very upfront and praise my husband, which is the truth, just so some of my friends' husbands could also learn the same technique. Outside our home for our 2 boys, and his strong belief in the dignity of labor. There were many challenges when I started college in the US. One of the stories that I share in the book is when I arrived in Illinois. I went to bed hungry. I did drink a lot of water. I learned quickly that I better be direct when I'm in the US if I didn't want to convey the wrong message to the Americans, or worse, starve. Growing up in a culture that emphasizes the importance of food and how it is interweaved into the social niceties, a more practical approach in the US was completely new to me. Of course, this was in the early 80s, and now children are more advanced and bold and will speak out their minds even in the East. And all of you parents here, you know what I'm talking about. We are living in a world where there is increasing intolerance and hatred of one another, where one group thinks one is more superior than the other. Cross-cutting all paradigms, I sincerely hope that my readers will see this transcending value. With the new awareness of the one world family concept, I came to understand that regardless of different cultural backgrounds, as humans, we have the same core values, aspirations, and feelings. Whether you are American, Nepali, Brazilian, African, Swedish, Indian, or Chinese, we all strive to be happy in life. We desire freedom of spirit and a sense of belonging to each other. I hope that the anecdotes and personal narratives in the book will allow for better communication, compassion, acceptance of people and cultures that are different than your own. I trust this book will also address the youth and first few generations of the cultural mix and help to clarify many ambiguities that they may face in life. if my story will dissipate some confusion in their young minds, make them centered and comfortable in pursuing their dreams while arousing deeper awareness and desire to know their roots, I will feel accomplished. This to me would manifest as unity in diversity, better communication within families, more compassion between the young and the old, and a pride and joy in one's heritage, and finally, a confidence to celebrate the difference. I've used anecdotes and stories quite personal to our family over the years. The tricky part was, how could I give examples and draw from anecdotes specific to my family and not risk a little? They say life is all about being little vulnerable and taking risks. Thank you to all my family and friends for taking this journey with me. Madeleine Engel said, when we were children, we used to think that when we were grown up, we would no longer be vulnerable. But to grow up is to accept vulnerability. To live is to be vulnerable. I believe that writing means more than putting pretty words on a piece of paper. The act of writing is really to share part of my soul with the world. I've used humor as part of the ingredient to the book to get my message across. And if my readers have not enjoyed few good laughs during the process of reading, then I have not done a good job. I assure you that this book is not a perfect piece. However, I hope you will gather the essence, the nectar that it was supposed to emanate and spread. Now, I have 3 individuals who will help me to demonstrate some examples from the book. First, I would like to invite my sister Kipa. She is all over the pages of the book, along with my sister Mika. So I thought, why not just have them on stage so you can put the face and the name together when you happen to read the book. Both of them are my inspirations in life, and they keep me in line. In the book, I talk about some individuals who have had deep influence in me, and I will ask Kipa to please elaborate on it. Thank you.
And writing with sincerity, your book captures our hearts with its candor and humor. In chapter 8 of the book, Neva, my sister, talks about the people who made her the individual that she is today. Her inspiration comes from our father, late Dairam Bhakta Matima. She writes, in Nepal, a patriarchal society, the man made all the decisions in the family, and the children's destiny is shaped by the father, the head of the household. My father shaped mine, she reminisces. Even my major in journalism was decided by my dad. However, I truly appreciate his liberal and encouraging approach. This made all the difference to Neva. It gave her the inspiration to write her first book, and we hope to see many more. She says, writing this book gave me a sense of fulfillment that I upheld my father's dreams. She recalls fondly. He was passionate about writing and educating the women in his family. This conviction is reflected in his poem from the early 1960s, Shiksha Ra Nari, Education and Women, where he implores the young men of his country to provide for the education of their sisters, as they too contribute towards the building of the nation. He bemoans, education please, in place of dowry. Today, Neva has asked me to read a few lines from his poetry, Shiksha Ra Nari. शोभा छैन युवक तिमीलाई अबला पार्नु बहिनीलाई देऊ शिक्षा उनीहरूलाई देऊ शिक्षा उनीहरूलाई खर्च सकेको गर्न तिमीले विद्या नाना पढ्न लगाऊ दाइजो खास शिक्षा देऊ दाइजो खास शिक्षा देऊ, दिनेछन् मद्दत उनीहरूले पनि, नगर हेला अबला भनी, रसिलो विचार छ उनीहरू सबमा पनि, ताकत छ उनीहरू सबमा पनि, ताकत छ उनीहरू सबमा पनि। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Kipa. Raising funds for the past few years to send to Nepal to help children and women. Since their birthdays fall around Christmas time, they ask friends and families to please contribute to this fund in lieu of birthday gifts. And they have done amazing work in Nepal. So I'd like to welcome Yuna.
Hello everyone, my name is Hermes, but I speak on behalf of my brothers in America, Karan, Ravi, Saber, Nirjai, as a product of multiculturalism. As children, we often forget that our parents had entire lives before we came along, so it was really nice and interesting to read Nivama's book. And it made me realize that yes, we were raised in the best of both worlds. But it happened so organically that we didn't realize it was happening. I mean, they made our Nepali culture something to look forward to, something that was special. Like if it was your birthday, you didn't sleep in that day, you ran downstairs so that your sagun was still hot and ready when it was there. And another favorite of mine was Baitika. Well, in America, you can't drink until you're 21, so that was our chance to get a taste of it. But other Nepali families and friends that I have, their parents, they don't celebrate things like Thanksgiving and Christmas. But our parents were able to provide that for us. And I mean, those were some of my fondest family bonding moments. I mean, we had our Thanksgiving traditional American turkey next to the goba atar, and we all chipped in to help make it. It's making me hungry now. But on a more serious note, they managed to instill in us a desire in our hearts to come back to Nepal and a love for our mother's country. So if there was ever a recipe for raising your children with the best of both worlds, you'll find it in Nivama's book, so I hope you enjoy.
I would like to invite Mr. Yaman Shrestha to the stage. And while he's getting set up, we have a finale for today. And before he gets there, I would like to just, a few people I would really like to appreciate and thank individuals. My 92-year-old father-in-law, it was a very bright one at that, so I'm very privileged to be his daughter-in-law. And when he read the book, I asked him, can you write a little, and that's what Mika read. And Chaya and so many of you, it is such an honor. Asman, Sony is there, and Shanta and Rajini and Aruna. So thanks also to Pranab Singh for his support and help all along. I'm glad that POG's Cove is represented here today. And Anandji, they've been exceptional, with the printing of this batch of the book. To entertain us today with this demonstration. And it resonates ideas from the chapters in my book.
Also, I was in America for 12, 13 years. I went there because, all my friends were there. So they all left me. And I also wanted to go there overseas, I wanted to do my school and education, everything there. Bill Gates.